I got do-rag line on forehead and everything.
Oh.
You got a little tan too. A little tan.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting. I ain't even been out in the sun like that. I'm just getting black.
Said you got a little darker. Darkness, everybody. Darkness.
Remember, when you used to go swimming, you come back, you be dark, you be all
Yes.
dark.
Everywhere but your swimsuit. I don't know. I guess they don't have the guys as much.
Well, Rudy, you can maybe tie it in. I don't know how, but we talked about the pastor who was scamming Lamar Whitehead. He was sentenced to jail. So should, but also I don't know all the details of the case because I was like, I don't know, should people like Carl Lentz and Brian Houston something with their trials, but I don't know.
All right, well, let's just get through this first one, and then we'll cross the second bridge when we get there.
Okay.
That way, we at least maximize our little time.
You ready for me?
I am.
Boom shakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Worst Ones Podcast. This is the podcast for us preacher's kids to come together and be the absolute worst. My name is Rudy Wilson. I'm a preacher's kid. Kellie Lee's in the building. She is a preacher's kid, and our presidential, future pastoral honor roll student is in the building. Jay Rihanna. She's gonna have her first husband one of these days.
First and only, hopefully.
Well, I met his position.
Oh.
As the first husband.
No.
But how is everybody doing? Okay, let's start with you because you asked me a question before we started recording that sounded pretty intriguing. About have you shared something about the kids at your school?
Yeah, I always got a story. Not always, but I sometimes have a story about my kids. And so there was a shooting here at a nightclub a few months back in Atlanta. Buckhead Club. I think the shooter shot two people. One, he attended the shoot. One was an innocent bystander. The young lady who's the innocent bystander was a college student. And so, of course, the Atlanta community was outraged. They did not know who did the original shooter. And the shooter happened to turn himself in early this month. When the news came out, I saw that it was one of my students that I used to work with in high school. And he always, or in middle school and high school, actually, he did not finish at my school. So I don't know if he finished elsewhere. He was always a would get into some things like fights, and he had some other some siblings that were also into like criminal behavior and those type of things. But always polite, always respectful. But to see the news and see someone that you used to work with, picture and name come across where they have, killed two people at a nightclub is crazy. Is insane. And so today was his bond hearing apparently, but they postponed it. So I didn't finish reading the story. My friend just sent it to me. One of my coworkers just sent it to me, so I didn't get a chance to finish reading the story. But they postponed his bond hearing today. But they said the court was full with, of course, his victim's family and friends, trying to see what's going to happen. But just sad story. When working with the youth, your fear is always, coming across the news. And I don't really watch the news often. I was at my parents' house last night, and they watched the news. And just to see how many shootings there are just in general, like I just keep myself from that. From that, but just the news comes on at 5, 8, 11, and the first 15 minutes talks about all the shootings and the little girl that got shot, and it's just it's crazy. But again, to see a young man that you work with, 21 years old, barely able to get into the club. Apparently he paid off the security guard to get the gun in. So just sad. So pray for the victims, pray for him. And I think that may be a topic one day, like, definitely the victim's family and friends deserve the prayer, but does he, what does that look like? What does that mean? As the offender, what should he get from the Christian church community? So, but yeah, so that was one thing. On a lighter note, I went to Tulum last week for a bachelorette party. So that was a good time. It rained most of the time, but good time. Yeah, I know. But we still had a good time. That has been like Instagram #1 place to go for the past couple of years, and so so I made it. And it was cool. Definitely a party city. Definitely fun. Good time. So that was fun. And in terms of productivity, I'm at the same 7 reports that I was last Tuesday. But I said I was going to finish. My goal is Sunday. That's been my goal for the whole month. It's Sunday. So we'll see if I can get them 7 done before Sunday. But I'm at them same 7. So
gotcha.
It's all about me.
As far
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I said, but I did try to eat right and do a little exercise while I was in Mexico. I mean, I didn't eat nothing but tacos half the time. But so I did try to do a little tacos and salsa, I did try to do
on a side note of tacos, I work with a Mexican guy. He's like born and raised in Mexico. And he's very insulted by like Taco Tuesdays and stuff. He'd be like, man, white people ruin everything. He's like, Taco Tuesdays is insulting. He's like, what is a taco salad? What is taco pizza? Like all of that is just that's so insulting to him. And I'm like, I actually kind of like those things. But
Americans, right?
Right. But he blames white people, so I don't stop him. Right. But as far as side note, as far as the news and even just seems I don't know what just happened. I guess she just accidentally knocked herself out. But it is pretty wild to. I haven't experienced that. Well, no, I take that back. I have. So I've experienced that with as far as like seeing, learning about something that happened with somebody like either kids that you used to work with or even like people who I went to college with. Like, like it's there's some cases that I know about personally where like I know the person and like I'm like to this day, actually even as of last night, like I write them on JPay, you know what I'm saying? Because like they're in
page.
That's because they do it. They basically do electronic everything now. So instead of you like writing a letter and mailing it in or mailing pictures in, like I mean, of course, if you go mail them like books or something, that still will go through whatever. Right. But JPay is basically like the app service where you can either talk to them on like a video call or or write them letters or whatever. You pay for stamps, but it's all like a virtual thing now. But like I said, I got frat brothers and stuff that I do that with now, where it's just so like flooring almost to know like either one of them gonna be in there for the rest of his life. Or this one is in there for 8 years, or another guy I went to college with that I found out from somebody else that I didn't even know he was in jail, but he in there for like 40 years.
Wow.
Or even like kids that I've coached or worked with back when they was in middle school, like one is dead from a shootout with the police, and another one is in prison for a long time for killing people, and then even with the kids, especially with these 2 kids I'm thinking about specifically, I would have never even guessed they would have ever involved themselves in street activity. Right. They was quiet and mild mannered and respectful And so when you hear, you be like, dang, like he did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So so it just, I thought about that when you was talking about the kid, and then I definitely, I don't watch the news at all. Like the news is so depressing. I be trying to convince my mom to start watching the news. I'm like, you it's, to me, I feel like the news was building anxiety before social media. You know, social media just adds to it. You know what I'm saying? But the news, it can make you real anxious just seeing just that constant, just that even that little music they play as it's coming on. Like you just start feeling like, okay, they about to report something bad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's I stay away from the news, but yeah. So that I just wanted to add that part. But Jeriana, what's happening? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I said this summer, in the spirit of focusing on myself, you know, I would be my version of outside because Atlanta's crazy. But I did go to some restaurants. Went to happy hour on Friday. And then I went to this Black-owned lounge in Avondale, Georgia. Yes, y'all, Avondale. I think it's called Anansi. Such a vibe. They go for drinks, whether it's like a pregame or a nightcap. They don't really sell food. They have like olives, you know, snacky foods. Yes, popcorn, but not like food. But I actually love olives, so it was great. Great.
I'm like, is that like the drink topper? They just said, "Hey, we got some extra." Like,
no, it's like they have like these like snack sides, but no real food. But it was definitely a vibe. Loved it. And then I went to Beat the Bomb on Sunday.
I saw that.
And that was fun.
Did you beat? No, you did not beat the bomb.
We did not beat the bomb.
What is that? What is Beat the Bomb?
Essentially, it's like you go through these 4 rooms and you play these games. One of the games was like a laser, you know, like in the movies, you have to like crawl through the lasers and not get touched or whatever. But they change it up each time. So like your whole team has to get across, and then the pattern changes. And you want to basically complete as many levels in the allotted time, so you can get time to beat the bomb. Like the faster you do it, the more time you get at the last one. And the last ones, of course, you try to beat the bomb, and if you don't, you get sprayed with paint.
And you're beating the bomb by doing what? Trying to defuse it, or you trying to run and get out before it goes off? Or
no, it's like a video game, and you kind of have these controllers, but each controller only does one thing. So one person might only go straight, one person may go left or right, one person shoots, one person's the map, and so you kind of have to go through this video game and destroy items within your set amount of time. But it's kind of sort of almost impossible to do.
I wonder if people ever I feel like we got like, had I had known what to expect going in, I may have been able to do it. But you know, you spend the first like couple minutes in each room like, now what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, you're trying to figure out what the rules are.
But no, it's a good time, good team building activity for sure.
Very good for team building. So we had fun with that. And then even this week, because yesterday was kind of crazy work-wise, so I just kind of decided I was going to try something new. I've been wanting to learn how to grill. I have like a really cheap Walmart $50 grill, nothing special. But this afternoon, you know, I lit up the grill and made some salmon and some veggies, and you know, I was really proud of myself. It actually turned out really well. So this is like my version of outside. I do go outside. I do go outside of my house. I do go outside to places, but I'll probably be there between the hours of 10 and 7 p.m.
Before it gets dark.
Yes, before it gets dark. So someplace that has seats, good, easy parking. Yeah, all those things. So I've been, you know, just chilling.
Good. I'm proud of you for getting out in these Atlanta streets, having a good time.
Yeah, $50 grills aren't bad if you only are like I grill every once in a while type of person. Like if you grill a lot, then it'll run down pretty fast. But if you're just doing it, you know, even just once a month or so, it'll probably last you at least a whole year for sure before you just absolutely would start needing another one. So $50 grill ain't bad. Ain't bad at all.
Yeah, especially because I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, "Is it cooking?" Because the flames went out. It was. I got there though.
Yeah, I'm actually way better at grilling than I am like cooking in the kitchen, because I can. I for some reason I have this thing where I don't necessarily need side dishes when I eat or cook for myself. So like I'll just just grill up a bunch of protein, if you will,
So,
chicken, steak, whatever.
when you coming to Atlanta, Rudy?
I don't have a set time.
Well, you go ahead and make that set time. Kellie and I will be so thrilled for you to cook barbecue for us. And we can make it happen. Look, I got the $50 grill in the back.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely will. But y'all gonna have to do the side because I don't.
I'm learning how to do some. I made some baked beans the other day that were pretty good. Somebody walked me through how to make some baked beans, so I got the beans now.
All right, I'll make a drink and bring some ice.
Because my boyfriend likes to grill and he loves having a good kickback and grilling.
Mm-hmm.
But he only grill meat.
Even better.
Yeah.
Kellie, even bring him, Rudy.
Yeah. It's like
men don't really care about sides. You get us some chips. He's like,
right. It's like
I don't even need that.
It's like chips. Sizes or whatever. Like if it's there, I'll eat it. But if it's not, I ain't tripping. Like
let me learn how to make some beans, some corn, something.
I'm serious. This could be a whole thing. We got Kellie's grilling boyfriend. We got Rudy the griller. I got the ice and some drinks. Kellie got a side or two.
I'll tell you, man. We can make it happen, but yeah, somebody got to get sides.
We need someone's grandma to make a dessert, and a church member, mother.
Well, yeah. As far as me, everything is everything. I definitely just woke up. If you can see it in my face.
As usual.
Still living this vampire life. Up all night, sleeping during the day. Even though this is, and I know Kellie hates when I expose our little secrets, but even though this is pre-recorded, so by the time I say this, weeks will have been passed by in real time before they actually see this episode. But in reference to my productivity, it's getting better, but there is an ultimate step or an ultimate let's just say act of obedience that does need to take place that I have kind of drug my feet on. I ain't gonna say kind of feet's dragging, scraping the heels off my boots as we speak. So would that be? I'm not gonna necessarily say it just now, but as far as I guess allowing you two to hold me accountable, once again, it'll be weeks before we see each other again, but you'll know it by my background, recording location, and don't get excited. You're not gonna see some condo in the sky or nothing like it. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep, but you'll know it by my background, and then I'll explain further once we all come back to recording.
So when we come back together, late July, early August, we should see. We should see a different background.
Right. Now the good thing is I actually have been provided an opportunity by God because of scheduling and everything this week to go ahead and eliminate all excuses.
Okay.
Because it's easy to be like, but I gotta, and then I still gotta, and I'm busy and I'm tired. When I'm gonna sleep. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'll explain all this into further detail, then. That way people can be caught up and y'all can be caught up in real time once we actually come back and get back on our schedule. But yes, everybody, we did pre-record a lot of these episodes because I'll be out of town. Kelly will be out of town. It's a whole thing. She actually, I think by the time we record again, you'll be out of town. You'll be in California.
Possibly, yep. I ain't booked the flight yet, but that's the goal.
Right. So, but like I said, productivity has been getting better, but it won't ultimately get there until I just say commit all the way to what it is I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, but other than that, everything else has just been normal. Shows, church, working overnight, etc. My phone getting flooded with Crimson, that type
of as usual.
Uncle Rudy.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but we have a few church announcements. First, thank you all for listening, and make sure that you find us on YouTube at The Worst Ones Podcast. You can also find us wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. You can find us there at The Worst Ones Podcast. And when you get there, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you. Now back to the show.
We are on part 4 of our conversation about the Hillsong documentary on Hulu. Hopefully you guys have been watching it, not YouTube, people, our viewers. You've been watching it, and even, forming your own opinions and having your own conversations about it. Once again, feel free to leave it in the comments. Even though we'll be done talking about it possibly by the time these episodes air. But we would still love to hear your thoughts, not only from what you heard from our conversation, but what you saw and watched on the Hulu documentary. But more in particular, for our part 4 of the conversation, we are going to discuss, I guess, something that they kind of talked about in there, which was NDAs in church. And I guess that's going to transition to another conversation. I'll wait to announce it just in case it ended up being the second part. But NDAs in church. If my memory serves me correctly, I think they had, was it the staff and stuff that was just doing the NDAs, or was it members as well?
So I definitely know it was like the staff and stuff. I wonder, I can't remember, but I wonder if like volunteers or people who got too close had to do it too. But I know he said staff did. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, because he said one of the things he said was one of the reasons why people were so tight-lipped was because they had to sign these ironclad NDAs.
Right. And I don't know, Kelly, because I think what you're saying is true too, but I'm not sure if, like, say the minister of music is that, in a lot of churches that's a volunteer. So I don't know if that's necessarily a volunteer or a staff member. Like I don't know where the line is drawn on what roles are what.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in their church, the minister of music probably had to be in
on staff. Yeah, he probably had to do the NDA. Yep.
Right.
But like, if you work on the Sunday school, if you're a Sunday school teacher, you're not probably staff, but they might have them type.
I guess it would depend on what meetings you were privy to. So if you were, so some people don't put, like I said, children's church staff on their leadership team. Some people may. So I guess it depends on kind of how they viewed some of these people, because I know they also called it like the boys club, and so the people that they're close to, the people that they trust, are the only people who can get into the inner circle. And so if I hand selected the youth minister, because I know he gonna cover my dirt, then yes. But no, it's Miss Williams who, does a good job with the youth. Then nah, she don't know that. Right. she just show up with her own little team and do a job.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess what's y'all thoughts on just NDAs in church in general?
I brought up this topic, and I wish I would have talked to my dad about it. In hindsight, like right at this moment, I'm like, dang, I really want to know what my dad thinks. So 2 parts when I think about it. I think NDAs are a lot. I feel like if church business gets to a point where you got to sign a non-disclosure, this may not be church business. It may not be related to church and Christianity. Like an NDA is a lot. Now, is all church business member business? No. You know, is there some things that may just go on and you keep it, you know, and the pastor and his cabinet or his ministers or in the board or whatever? Yes. Are the members privy to everything that goes on behind the scenes? No, I don't think it's all of their business. But I think if you got to sign an NDA, then baby, you doing something. You doing something, you know. And going back, and it's gonna sound real bad, y'all. And it's probably gonna be the worst thing I say on this podcast. So don't judge me, but I'm gonna say it because I don't think I said it when we talked about Pastor Carl beforehand. Now, did he have these people sign NDAs when he out here cheating knowing he had this mega church? Because he should have been, he had too much to lose just to be out here. Now, why he didn't learn the NDA lesson before he went and did what he was going to do? I'm not sure.
Right.
But he was the one who needed to sign the NDAs with the women he was sleeping with. Because that one girl told all his business. He had too much to lose. She ain't have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Because she got a little 15 minutes from it. I don't understand why he ain't learned from Frank and Brian about NDAs. We're going to close that snippet. Now I'm going to move back to Kellie as normal. But that was really what I'm going to go back real quick. But that was really what I was thinking. Like, Carl, come on now. Like, you know, you got all this to lose. And you go and you sleep with somebody who got everything to gain from it.
You think she gonna move off the honor system,
right? Or maybe he thought Hillsong was gonna have his back in that way. I don't know.
Somebody should have told him because somebody knew that he was sleeping around. And let me be clear, I do not condone cheating. I do not condone sleeping around. Pastor Carl was wrong, but doing that on his wife, absolutely wrong.
But you but if you're gonna rob a bank, at least wear a mask, right? Don't go in there.
you have way too much to lose to just be out here. No, you doing too much. So, but back to NDAs in the church. But yeah, I think it's a lot. I think when you had to sign an NDA, if I went to a church and they put me on staff and they told me I had to sign an NDA, I'm like, I gotta go. Because y'all doing something beyond what I'm comfortable with, and I don't even want to be tied into this because I don't even know what the legal ramifications are for NDAs, like in court. You know, at what point is it not? You know, what's the word? Not in void or void or whatever. You know, when you get to court, you know, somebody signed an NDA about Frank's touching little kids, but when I get in court, I still had to tell, right? You know, so I don't know how far those go, but
NDAs don't cover if a crime was committed. NDAs don't cover that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And well, until you get caught. So it covers it in y'all little community until somebody get caught. But yeah, so no, I like I said, I don't think it's everybody's business what goes on in the church. So that's a good question too. So while y'all talking, ask this. So is it everyone's business on what goes on in the church? So Pastor Carl sleeps with his wife or sleeps around on his wife. Is that the church's business? If they didn't ask him to step down, is that something that they need to announce to the entire church, or is that something that's okay to keep quiet? Like, what do you guys think about that in your spills?
Well, Kellie, write that question down because I'm going to forget.
I am too. But go ahead.
I'm going to forget. But to answer the first question, I don't think NDAs probably need to be in church, except I can kind of sort of see a reason where it might be. But like just looking at my dad's church, if we had NDAs, that might be weird and a little off-putting, because I too would be like, well, what are we trying to keep, internal or whatever? And maybe if there is a legit reason, maybe that needs to be disclosed. I don't know if that's what happened in the Hillsong church when they were asking people, or if they were just kind of like playing it off of, oh, it's just, something everybody does. We just got to sign these things. Hold on a second. But Hillsong, had multiple entities, right? So you had the college, the music, the churches. I think they said they had cafes and maybe some more whatevers. Mm-hmm. When it comes to like the music, I could, kind of see an NDA not wanting beats or release dates or concerts or whatever, stuff like that. Especially sense. If a lot of their stuff is, written in-house. I can understand maybe something with that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And even I was thinking, I don't think Hillsong had it, but, I know our church has put on several plays that were written by, church members or whatever. So maybe if it was something of that effect, maybe, because when I kind of sort of talked to someone about it, they were telling me it's like to protect trade secrets. But like, what exactly trade secrets does the church have? So I could only really see that if there was some type of product that the church was developing that they wanted to sell or put out to the masses, where something like that might need an NDA. But just to be on the Sunday school staff, the usher ministry, I don't think so. Rudy, do you want to answer first, or you want me to do the second question too?
Go for it. No, you go ahead.
Kelly, what's the second question?
I don't know. Go ahead, Rudy.
I'm trying to even think of what it was. Wasn't it something to the degree of
oh, so but I'm beyond this, but in terms of Hillsong, was it the responsibility of Pastor Carl to tell everyone that he cheated on his wife? Like those type of things. Do those things need to be known?
Is that church business?
Yeah, like, is that church business? Is that personal business? As a pastor, do I have to tell you that? Do I have to say, hey, Deacon Johnson is no longer a deacon anymore because he cheated? So it may be different with Pastor Carl, but Deacon Johnson is no longer a deacon anymore because he cheated on his wife, or he went to jail for gambling, or he got a DU. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you talk about the leadership staff, is that important for people to know? And is there a difference between deacons and ministers and the pastor?
Kelly, you just asked about 7 different questions.
I did.
But I'm going to try my best.
When you ask me again, it come with more.
I see. So in terms of should, like, Pastor Carl have had to say something, is that church business or is that leadership business? So in the grand scheme of things, like the grand scheme of things, I don't think he's required to do anything that he does not want to do. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm trying to think of a better word. Keeping the church intact is what popped in my mind, but just go with me. I'm not saying keeping the church, but just kind of in the spirit of transparency and just not hiding things and acting like we're holier than thou and that no one ever makes a mistake. Let's not say anything. And to avoid all the fallout that can come with that, I think that it would probably be in the best interest to address your congregation. I also think we live in a society today where nothing is really a secret. I've watched some YouTube bloggers because they review TV shows. And I know like Real Housewives of Atlanta and Real Housewives of Potomac are currently filming. And it's like we're getting all the tea about what's currently happening now. And these shows probably won't even be released until fall, maybe even next early January, something like that. And so in today's world, especially probably after it came out, I'm sure bloggers was on it, Twitter was twittering, or X, whatever it's called. You know, like, I think it would be better if that news would have came from the leadership or from the head and not just what bloggers are saying. And you know, people who are in the know but don't know, you can't really verify. That's when stories start to twist even more. So I think, you know, given all of that, yes, he should, but I don't think he's required to just because people want him to. That man's a grown man. He can do whatever he wants. Now, where's that line? Like we said, with the deacons versus the minister of music versus the pastor. I don't know. I would say maybe depending on what it is, like if the deacon killed somebody and it was going to be on the news anyways, you know, maybe, yeah. But if the deacon cheated on his wife and him and his wife are going through counseling or they're trying to figure it out, that might not be for everybody to know. And so maybe the general expression to the congregation or whatever is, you know, deacon such and such is on a leave of absence, you know, or something to that effect. I don't know. I'll probably have to think about it a little bit deeper, but from the top of my head, since you just asked the question, that's what I got.
Yeah, I actually was sitting here like kind of like doing like a little Google search on the specificities and legalities of NDAs. Because I guess what I was even just wondering was like, I've never read or signed an NDA or whatever, but I was wondering like, is an NDA like a broad statement, like it's just a standard, you know, set of words that somebody signs, or is it more specific, like depending on what you're signing an NDA about? So like, is this, you know, does Hillsong's NDA look different than, you know, the one just say Beyonce sung about in her song when Tiffany had a snitch about to get bit in the face? Well, no, well, I looked it up. I'm saying no, it's definitely different. Well, yeah, no, it's whatever you want. Correct, and that's what I was looking at. Like it is more of a specific kind of thing, and I even came across one thing that says that like if a NDA is too broad, it can almost like make it unenforceable in court. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not covering just say the specific details of whatever it is that you signed the NDA for. So even with it having to be specific, to me, I think that's a double-edged sword. Because like I was already thinking about it to the same point Janessa made, like maybe there is whether you're talking about art or music or whatever like that, that's catered to Hillsong that they may not want exposed prematurely, or maybe even just something to the degree of, you know, if you're on this leadership staff, we don't, you know, and I'm just making up a scenario, but like if we're close to, you know, being evicted, you know, that's not something we'll, you know, tell the church because we don't want people to panic, or, you know, excuse me, anything to that degree. Like there maybe just certain in-house things that you know, that you don't necessarily always expose to the mass because of just, you know, crowd control, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think this would be an NDA type thing, but even just to the degree of like if you're on a plane, even if the plane is in jeopardy of like possibly going down, like normally I'm sure there's up to a certain point before the captain feels like, okay, let me go ahead and tell everybody on the plane, okay, we all finna die. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Versus like there's a chance we may can still figure this out. So the flight attendants may know, the pilots, the co-pilots, whatever may know, but to keep the panic down from everybody else, we won't expose it. So if there is some type of parallel to that in church, I get it. But the flip side to that is, let's say like, okay, there's a church that has like all of this grimy stuff going on. That means like to a certain degree, if I'm signing an NDA, that NDA is laying out the fact that there's grimy stuff going on that cannot be exposed. So like you're reading that and signing that. It's because once again, it's not really a broad statement. It's not like, hey, anything we talk about in meetings don't say. Like I feel like if you're signing that and it's saying like, all information you hear about the Houston family, or all information you hear about the Lentz family, whatever like that, like you don't mention it. To me, now it's starting to get shaky. Now it's starting to say, well, like what exactly are y'all hiding? And church gossip is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if everybody did sign an NDA, whether even if you was just the brand new usher on the usher board, or you was the chairman of the usher board, or the lead usher, or chairman of the deacon board, or the head Sunday school teacher versus new one, because all it would take is a little chitter chatter to get out, and that person who didn't sign the NDA could start exposing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I don't know to what degree they have people sign NDAs, but I think NDAs can get a little crazy depending on what's going on. It's kind of hard to judge it without actually seeing, and I'm sure they, Hillsong, I'm sure had exactly powerful enough lawyers where they probably could word stuff that you don't even realize that you're signing, like, right, like you're signing, like, yeah, like this in French is how you say, Frank Houston was touching little boys, you know what I'm saying? But it's in a different language, but you signed it, so you still can't say nothing. We told you, it just was hidden in plain sight. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I mean, and I've never been a part of a church that size. Because actually on the other podcast, we just was talking about this last night, like what's people's thoughts on mega churches. And though the definition of a mega church is 2,000 people or more. So according to that definition, I have been a part of a mega church, but not like just say the 30,000 member churches or whatever like that. So I don't really know what all that entails in reference to the business aspect, the legal aspect. Like what all documentation would you need people to sign to keep this church intact? You know what I'm saying? Versus a smaller church where it ain't really that much going on, or maybe the church isn't big enough where it's worth just say you're not in a situation where you got everything to lose. Like worst case scenario, if something happened at this church and we replace the pastor, that's different than just say replacing a TD Jakes or Joel Osteen or these other like kind of public figure pastors. So I don't really know what that looks like on that level to say like whether churches need an NDA or not. But just even me kind of doing a quick research on NDAs and them being specific and catered to a case by case type of thing. I think it's a double-edged sword because it could be a protection of, like Janessa said earlier, like things that will be content, music, whatever, or it could be specific to, these skeletons in the closet or this dirt we sweeping under the rug. Like we also nailing this rug to the floor, and y'all better not lift it up to try to go get this dirt. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we on your head. So.
No, I agree. That's definitely a different perspective. Like in terms of your thought, Janessa, if they were protecting a service or a product. I get that. You know, I know when the product is completed, you copyright it, you know, once it goes out so that other trademark it or whatever, so that other people can't use it. But in the process of creating it, that you don't take my idea, you don't take this song, you don't take this and go elsewhere with it. I 100% agree with that. Hearing Hillsong's history and all the stuff that they were doing, I think it was a little more than that. I can imagine it was a little more than that.
Top of the world.